Okay, I got that stopped. Yeah, before this started. They actually fit a lot more. It's amazing how much you can fit in just a few minutes. So I'm going to try and do the same because I'm multitasking here. So don't mind me. It actually might be good to do that because then I'm going to have to copy. I'm going to just have to type the email address because it's showing there when I'm trying to paste it. But then I won't be focusing on the viewers. I am, but I'm not keeping saying, "Oh, so I tuned in." Blah blah blah. I don't think that's a terrible thing, and I would hope that other people don't either. Um, that's interesting. Dot art is the, and you'd think you would have a more colorful. Just checking I spelled everything right. JEANNE. Yep. Um, look to it. Um, speaking of colors, so yeah, I'm just discovering somebody that I've known about, had interesting interactions with her ex-husband the other day. I believe they stayed in contact. I had her on one of my social media. May have been my old account. I'm not sure. Well, it's not my other one. Um, I don't know if I disconnected for a particular reason or not. She actually was in a picture with Oprah on one of her videos. Ironic because of the title too, kind of. But in one of her pictures, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't a cardboard cutout, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't a wax figure, although it can look pretty real. Because she has gotten around. I mean, if I had been Marguerite in her position, it would have just been so cool. Like these people are like do so many interesting things, probably know so many interesting people. Um, apparently she's changed since so, uh, but uh, um, but I did have some connection with both of them. Chris has passed away. She, I didn't talk with her often. Now apparently she does designing. It sounds like clothing and accessories. And I don't know why it's what's going on with this here. That's gonna be annoying. Oh, okay, that's a subject line. I was wondering why it wasn't going to the next line, but yeah. Um, I know that typing, whether you got headphones on or not, that typing sound is not necessarily easy to listen to. I'm happy that I'm sending. Um, and she's into hypnotherapy. Should be fine with that. Um, what's interesting is that okay, so maybe I'll mention that. So first of all, this is an example of the title, or maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but basically, sorry for the lighting, but basically, and my feet are a smidgen cold. Just noticing it now that I'm switching what I'm doing a little bit. I don't have anything on them, so I should, yeah. But anywho, basically, it says when it's colder out, you got to put the heat lower or something like that, which is not what I thought it was for. But I think well, then you misunderstood something. Anywho, basically, it's interesting though. Well, I'm gonna want her website open if she ends up being in my podcast. So stay tuned, people. Even though nobody's watching at the moment, but it's only 5 minutes in, because I very well might. So I closed a couple, 2 or 3. It's hard not. Sometimes I reuse tabs. It's hard not to open new ones. So I told them about the memories page and how it was going to change, and when midnight was soon to strike. Hello, we have a viewer. Welcome. But yeah, so basically, we have a viewer, and I'd like to ask your opinion on something, if you don't mind. And in a way, they left. In a way, kind of. Sometimes I'm trying to give opinion or trying to be of help, and I really need to be making income as well. Just didn't get very much the first time here, but sometimes I'm needing an opinion. Although I did leave a message for the one who gave this to me, and it was just something she found. She's not really otherwise involved in it. And I did tell her what the former counselor that I had said about, oh, nothing black or white thinking. But did I say my baby and my thinking in the title? I think I did. Anywho, point of the matter is that, and actually having my foot against my leg is warming it up a little bit. The one and the other one actually doesn't seem to be that chilly at the moment, which is odd, but whatever. I've been having some weird health problems. Anywho, but basically, so I might mention that in a moment, and I don't want to get too excited, too hyped up before it happens. I think she can actually afford to pay me. She's done a lot of these though. Like, I would have to tell her a little bit about me and my situation. I think we do have a viewer that just tuned in, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to ask your input on something they leave. No, I mean, I'm not trying to be pressuring, but so I'm just gonna say a bit more and then wrap this up. I really don't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't plan one way or another, but I really don't intend for this to be very long, but who knows? We'll see. I think the dog was laying on the blue chair when it came up, or maybe on the couch. But I have some things I want to do on Facebook and stuff, and then I want to have brunch, even though it's only 9 o'clock. I'm kind of craving the pizza. And then, yeah, we need some ideas for a Walmart list. For shopping, groceries, but basically, yeah. So one thing I'm trying to decide is that, well, I don't know. Like I said, I do want to talk about this possible guest. Basically, let's just say this: she's a media personality. She's a hypnotherapist. She is apparently designer. She's an audiologist. I kind of remembered that. Do I still have a Facebook open? Because there was something else interesting. Like, she has done so much. Well, when you meet the right people and nothing's holding you back, she's acted, and she's a newborn photographer. So, but this seems to be, and I always wonder when you see someone who's has, like, she has over 1,000 followers, and I do remember the but I don't remember them being. I guess they were. It's really never really put this together. I think those are her sons. I don't know who that is. I don't know if she had a daughter. I don't remember them being in the episode. I mean, what's her face was literally such a big personality and so big, and just other things. They didn't really focus on the kids that much in her episode that I recall of a particular show she was on. But yeah, I should know where they're from. I should know where they're from. Either remember or I could watch the episode again. But I mean, like, that was, like, it's like she was saying in her video, and she has some interesting art videos too, so long ago that so I'm just looking at two screens, but nobody's watching anyway. I don't know. It's almost overwhelming, but not quite. And then when I go to, wait a minute, January? Actually, this is recent stuff. Sorry. She has a pin post from August, And then other post January 8th, and it's January 10th, so that's not last year, that's this year. Her name is unique enough. I think I can find her on the other mine. I'm gonna maybe send her a message on Messenger. She might remember my first name. Um, I do. I mean, sometimes they always send me requests in 24 hours, but it's been like 3. You know, even though I am online a lot. I mean, I do sleep. I do watch videos. I do other things. Um, man, these are some nice pictures she's got on her page. Some nice fashion pictures of beautiful women. She really does guys too, but yeah. Anywho, so I remember what her name is. But I mean, yeah, I did email, but yeah. So, but basically, anything else I want to say? Like I said, I don't want to talk or think too much about it until she's agreed and we've ironed out the details. And there is some prep work that would have to be done. There is. Whether I do it before the payment, I don't know. Everybody operates differently because people either want to see the results of what they're paying for or want to be paid as well. So it's kind of like, but um, but she is doing very well for herself and quite prestigious. So yeah, but I don't know if I should maybe send this to her. I mean, I kind of feel like she might not actually ask to see past podcasts, and there hasn't been a lot with guests recently, and I'd really have to search for them. But there just hasn't been. But so I guess the only other thing, because I am feeling a bit slow this morning, and my throat's not too bad. I can't remember what it was like when I first woke up, but yeah, I thought maybe I just don't rub my neck very often because I was like feeling the but I do want to get a Facebook message sent to her. I also might want to mention the email, even though I didn't say a lot, and so mine because then the names match. Sometimes my messengers want England before that too, um, but um, but then and I didn't want to restart it, and luckily when it did restart naturally, it reopened most things that I had open, but it was weird. I was recording something. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I was trying to actually post it private for my own reference, that particular thing, and I was at 50%. And an hour and 15 minutes later, I come back and the thing is off, and I plug it in, and yeah, it was. And then next time I looked at it after like 15, 30 minutes, whatever, it was at 6%. So it had in fact died and didn't post. But one of the ones did. And I don't think that happened with the one with Kim, but maybe it did because I think it was the only one I'd seen that had posted that way, which there isn't many. But so, and I feel like lost a lot of reference, and these two things really aren't. But I know the things that we talked about, and then I left a message today that hopefully will bring some of it back around. And in fact, I might actually mute this as much as I would love to talk with her. And I mentioned it in the voicemail. I don't know if she's going to have time, this one particular person, to chat really much while she's at work. But she would have time to leave a quick voicemail or send an email. But yeah, my ear's been a bit tender too. And depending on how I laid on this side, it actually wasn't that bad. I thought it was laying on my full ear last night, but like to the touch, it's tender. And I've had that happen occasionally. And then it is fine again. But I'm noticing this where I'm sitting has no back, and my back is starting to get a bit sore. I think I may have been having some kidney issues or inflammation near the ribs. That, but basically, yeah, I can't sit on this seat anymore. Although I am planning to wrap this up in a moment here. But basically, Jean Marie, there's that name. Just realizing that putting that together now, D'Amico. So, But one thing I wanted to say is that I found out about an opportunity yesterday. Sorry for the lighting. I just recently moved to this chair because it's got a back. This seat does not. In fact, this seat is not even a seat. It's a Calhoun drum that we've made into a seat as the viewer goes. She's like, a seat that's not a seat. This is too weird. They are like, just kidding. But no, and it was about this opportunity, and I know the city it was in. And on the page, the only thing it said in the location was the city. No street or nothing. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's not laid out very well. That's not very thorough. It might still be a good opportunity, but I need to know I do need to know where I'm going. I can find that out, but it'd be better if the paper just said it, you know? And so am I kicking myself because I don't get a lot of opportunities? And it's not very often because I find reasons not to. And I actually did end up telling her about that. Let's call it BBBS. I know it sounds certain way, but it stands for something. And I was surprised kind of that it did. And she seemed to understand. You know, we can think that someone may just say, please don't or don't. If they don't say please, they don't have manners. And they might not say either. They might just, go and tell others and not me directly for whatever reason. Although in the moment you'd think that that would make the most sense. Although you could also tell by body language, and I would possibly say, oh, I'm very, very sorry. I'm just trying to give you some comfort. But body language is one of those things I don't think you can always tell. It depends how obvious somebody's reaction is or whatever. But so, I don't know. And I just, a lot of them are probably fine with fist pumps. I don't know. And the other thing is getting to the interview, getting the paper done, there was something else. And then, limiting things to the neighborhood that we're in and having to have the money for the activities because they would give them bus tickets, or give us bus tickets. And the other person connected to them would possibly chip in and know that in that program they would probably have to. They also have group things, but I would have to as well. And it's not required that I drive, thankfully. And there was a few good things that I found out, like that there are some possibilities in my area and such too. But unfortunately, yeah, that one detail, those two or three details, I think are reasons not to. And that's very resilient because I do. I feel a lot of sometimes. But anywho, hopefully we will get this podcast guest. I mentioned that already. My feet are still chilly, and I'd like to get downstairs and do other things. So I think I'll wrap this up now. Keep it short. But yeah, yes, I'm very curious to message her. Now that I realize, I was seeing that for some reason and thinking, oh, last January, or maybe I was even seeing JUN for June, but it's this January. So and they are mostly reels. It's true. Really, really. Well, look too much. Oh, the other thing I was going to quickly say though is that this reminds me of somebody. I don't have the tablet up here right now. She goes by two different names, and she definitely has a YouTube presence. Although I had a hard time finding stuff. I still haven't really found much, but I also haven't, I guess, looked that hard. And I met her on Facebook, and she liked a couple of my comments. She sent a friend request. She has an odd fake name, but is I think actually what it stands for is Bohemian. Come to think of it, Dale didn't even think of that the other day, or at least design. It stands for something. I go to her YouTube though, and the description, well, actually, it was, I believe, her partner's YouTube that they also share. They are maybe in the mode together, but they might not. They might be completely self-employed and able to set their own schedule. But anywho, basically, me and Glenn just live with each other. But basically, um, let's redo this because reasons mentioned before. But yeah, it's mostly reels. Didn't even see a whole lot posted about around Christmas, which some people don't see as a religious holiday. That's fine. We don't have to get hugely into that. I understand both sides. I didn't grow up with it being religious hugely, I didn't grow up religious. But basically, but the description on on their channel, I found a little bit odd. It said 1900 years in the past, 1900 years in the future, and something else, and these big numbers, and this and that and the other. It is getting close to the bottom notifications though, because I like to sometimes scroll there to make sure that I'm trying not to miss any before new ones come in, especially since I've been a bit more active in some groups than that. But and so it is coming out, and I can find it in my requests, and I'd love to because in that particular page I don't have my contact, and that's my main one these days. But when I look at this lady, she does some different things, and I think she's even got more background. Not that the other person doesn't, but one thing that is similar is their design work, and that they're into art and beauty and stuff like that. And I guess that's how clothing design works. Is like it starts like as art, and then you put it on fabric in one way or another. So it would be fine if it was with her. So I'm just talking about hopefully future podcast guests that we have. Now it's been a while since I've done them with guests, and she's not local. I don't know if she'd be able to be though. That's actually an interesting thought. I mean, she's I think a fairly busy person, but I think she might be able to manage to travel as we get a second viewer. And if she is, maybe she'd like to come to Canada and see our city, to one. And it might be cool to meet her in person. Um, Although I'm thinking I might rather do it on Facebook. And there used to be a bring on camera option as the viewer, but I don't know if it always. Actually, that's not too close up. I just had to lean on the table for a moment. I don't know if it's if it and this is good just to think about anyway, because I do want to start doing them more. And I always try to keep my eyes open for opportunities, but I really need to. What do you think about the concept of doing one thing each day to get closer to your goals? I mean, I have various goals, and sometimes you feel like you don't want to set them because you don't want to be disappointed if you struggle to reach them or don't reach them. I mean, one can only do so much. Sometimes others have to be involved. And I don't know. I mean, I tell myself, well, maybe I should try doing that. But then I tell myself, even if it doesn't end up happening, I always have the mindset of doing that. I always have I'm always trying to keep my eyes open for opportunities. There are many things that make it hard, but when they work out, it's great. But yeah, because I don't know. See, the thing is that the questions would be scripted. I don't know if I'd tell them to her ahead of time. She's actually done a number of shows and hosted too, so I don't know what she would want or require. She might be like, sometimes you don't, and that's fine. She might be like, usually you do, and I'd like to, whatever it is. But yeah, basically, again, I don't want to think too much about it until I hear from her. But the last time I reached out to her, like I say, it was on a different social media account that I can only view but not access, because I had a Hotmail doesn't exist anymore, though I have seen people using it. But basically, I tell you they don't. Either way, I'd be sending a code to my email, and I don't have access to that email anymore, and I don't have the same phone. Although I thought Glenn's was on it. And I would have assumed we would have tried to get it to text it and I don't think we got. I don't know what it is. Anyway, at least I could view it. Maybe I'll try again. And then the laptop that I used it on meant to put. But yeah, bring it on camera. Hopefully, it'll be an option on Facebook. Then it's just for our friends. But maybe we'll put it here. We'll see. Or here, and then I don't know. I'm just worried. What if Chris comes up? Or maybe just to subscribers that kind of. But this is being posted, and most of them lately have been posted kind of just anyone who sees it on YouTube. So it's amazing that they're so quiet at the time. But we got a viewer just tuned in. Welcome. Sorry, I've been sitting in this kind of uncomfortable seat for a while, but I'm going to be wrapping up soon. But I'm really glad that you're here. You're the only one here at the moment. And it's been a little hit and miss with this one. But yeah, basically, and sorry if I keep looking over here and that makes my gaze look funny. I'm just looking at another screen beside me. Nothing super fancy set up here. It's just, I guess it's this way because it's a bigger screen. And yeah, there's tabs here too, and that, and I know it's a lot to look at, 2 different windows. But so I was talking about hopefully a guest that we hope to have on the podcast, but kind of feeling like I'd prefer to do it on Facebook. I don't know, but if you'd like to see it there, I mean, we can. Yeah, we'll figure it out when the time comes. First thing is I have to hear back from her and have her agree to do it. It would be so ironic and surreal. And I've seen her old home, but in the video that I came to know of her about, and she's not necessarily a celebrity, but she at least I don't think she is, but she's done a number of things where people would probably recognize her and her name. I mean, maybe she is just as prestigious as a lot of other people, a lot of other famous people, and I just never heard of her until I heard of her. But on the show, they never said anything on the one particular show, which most people that are on it are only on 1 or 2 episodes. They never said anything about her being about either they said what they did, which was cool and definitely, like I say, media in a lot of cases, but they never said anything about, and again, this was a number of years ago, but I mean, she has lucky 1.3K followers now on Facebook. So back then, maybe she had probably not much less. And yeah, so she's doing quite well. She does it, it's kind of like with Very Show, and Ace didn't really need the publicity, but he was well liked and people would tune in because it was him, So, but yeah, how surreal would it be to have her in our home if she was able to? But again, if she's not, that's how you could film them. We'd call her on Facebook, film the screen is the best we can do, make it full screen. Could even turn it. Oh, this is the one that records, right? But we can get that window over here, but this is where the camera is built in, so then the gaze looks funny. But yeah, and so you have to sit and do it. And then we'd have to worry about uploading it instead of doing it live. So I guess what I'm asking, because it's been a while, is to anybody who does podcasts where they have guests join them virtually, and Zoom is an available option, and you really only use YouTube and Facebook. There is Gmail chat, but one time I used it, there was only audio on one end of things. So I would say YouTube or Facebook. What are your preferences and how do you do it? It's easy when the person's in the same room, but if that's not an option. I'm thinking about how I've done it in the past, but because it's been a while, it's kind of like completely envisioning it and knowing how to do it in the best way is still something that I'd like, you know. Glenn can help, but other than that, I really don't have a crew. So I'm curious. I don't have a crew and I don't have much of a clue. But anyway, doing the number. But on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. I was kind of hoping Natasha was going to call while I was doing this, but whatever. And yes, say have a good day. Happy New Year. I'm surprised I'm not more tired, and I'm surprised this got this long. But I'm going to reach out to her. Let me just very quickly check something while I'm doing this. And 503 there. I don't want to lose either of those things. I have something typed along the top that's just kind of for reference, and then I have a message here. But if I got something new, I would think that even if I didn't reload the page, it would show, but just in case that's not the case. And I did. Let me see here. Okay. Okay. And I can't help her with her medical or her housing. Yeah, and he said, town in Winnipeg. He knew it was in Winnipeg. I'm going to have to reply to that later. I need to wrap up this video. But I think I can do it quick. I'm bored, but I'm just multitasking. Anyway, I really should wrap this up. I don't need to be recording me responding to this email. So it's nice that, although, you know, I want this to be mostly a mutual thing, and it's great if I can gain clients, but I don't know how to do that via YouTube. But there is something that I got mentioned, not from the one I've been kind of rambling about, but from somebody else. And there is something that was mentioned, and I'm wondering what to think about it. And if I decide to make Conroy, I can just play this part back, whatever. But basically, somebody who I've had a falling out with, but I think she thinks we've either gotten past it or we're talking because she's trying to help me make a couple connections. And one of them is actually somebody that she's mentioned in the past. He sounds a little bit hoity-toity because the particular thing, if you can do it and you got it, you can do it and you got it. Sure, it's okay to take workshops or courses, but and maybe you don't initially know how and you have to learn. It isn't just something that you kind of come into. But this guy does not live in our city. Neurodiverse people, talking about neurodiverse people, being a light to people is great, but can it pose challenges? And sometimes too, right? But I do remember I emailed him or whatever. Remember the emails? There was something else weird about the color and something else, I think. But he also, like he said that he was in a particular town, and then he said, which is in this city. And I felt like the latter part wasn't necessary because I assumed, but maybe I shouldn't have, that our mutual. I think I had told the mutual this, and she didn't say, well, I never specified where you were from. Maybe he didn't know. So I almost thought maybe he didn't know. But it sounds like he must have. And she, I think, actually kind of agreed, but has forgotten that, yeah, that was a bit odd. And that was the other thing. He was thinking of leaving Facebook. I don't think that'd be a wise thing for me. Is sometimes there's stress, but usually it's great. And I mean, there are so many other sites out there. It's true, but and I wouldn't want to know his reasons too much. But to me, it doesn't make sense. But I guess everybody's different. But yeah, so it's more the other thing. However, anywho, so then of course there's that concert that he was either at with Mother and the Russells or Bev and Corey. I don't know. Maybe that person didn't really think right either, or maybe just at that particular time. I don't know if it's worthwhile. Try again. Can't remember if I found out something else about the reason they was like. Anyway, I really want to get downstairs. This has gotten longer than expected and a little bit distracted, and so I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.